the changing landscape of women's participation in parliament in India is something that cannot go unnoticed. In the recent years, women in India have been making significant strides in politics and going beyond mere reservations to actively shape the legislative agendas and influence policy decisions. In fact, one of these surveys that has been done indicates the way the politicians who are women have been building constructive developments in wake of administration, governance and welfare of their constituencies, of the regions that they govern. The visuals on your screens in fact provide you the statistics, and I am going to shed more light into those by bringing in a comparison. Now, this is about particularly the women members of the parliament who participate actively in the Rajya Sabha and the Lok Sabha. And here's a look at these are the median number of questions that have been asked. This the light blue, the sky blue actually indicates that it is BJP. The dark blue indicates that these are the members of the parliament of the Indian National Congress. Now, if we take a look at the figure on the left hand side, and this is the 15th Lok Sabha, and if you can keep that image on your screen right now, the first graphic, the first statistic, the first bar graph, so that we can just go through it. Alright, so there you have it for 15th Lok Sabha, and the number of females who have asked the questions is at 355. For the BJP, the number of women who have asked questions in the 15th Lok Sabha from the Indian National Congress stands at a staggering low number of 58. Amongst the male members of the parliament from the BJP and the Indian National Congress in the 15th Lok Sabha, the light blue, the sky blue marks at 254, which is the BJP member of the parliament. 254 members of the parliament have asked questions in the 15th Lok Sabha, and there are 194 members of the parliament, male members of the parliament from the Indian National Congress that have asked questions. Similarly, reflecting on the right side of this bar graph, which shows this is the 16th Lok Sabha, and the number of women who have asked questions from the BJP are 346, number of women who have asked questions from the Indian National Congress in the parliament stands at 254. Similarly, when we take a look at the statistics where the number of men from the BJP have asked 211 questions as members of the parliament, 209 are from the Indian National Congress who have asked questions in the 16th Lok Sabha parliament that has concluded some weeks ago. So this gives us an estimate of how there are members of the parliament, women members of the parliament who are actively participating in the proceedings, in the arguments, in the discussions that take place, and therefore whether there is reservation of 33% that is given to the women or not, their active role is very apparent as per the statistics that I show you. Okay, all right, yes, let's put out that graphic instead of mirroring my screen, because this is okay, all right, yeah, let's put that out. Now quickly taking a look at the next graphic that has been made by my producers over here. Now these are the 17 Lok Sabha vital statistics. Can we quickly not put the screen on my, yeah. Okay, this is the party-wide. If we can, I would just request my producers and my PCR to put out the second set of graphics, the bar graphs, so that I can explain it better to my audience. Okay, meanwhile, while that happens, I am going to quickly bring to focus, there is party-wise representation in the Lok Sabha for the women. In the 17 Lok Sabha statistics that we put out, I don't want this on my screen. There is BJD with 42%, these are all women members of the parliament and reflection of their participation. The TMC at 39%, YSRCP at 18%, BJP at 14%, INC at 14%, Shiv Sena at 11%, DMK at 8% and JDU at 6%. All right, so now that we have indicated these figures and the performance of the women members of the parliament, which is obviously exceeding the members of the parliament who are their counterpart, the male counterparts, let's start off this discussion. Pooja Tripathi on the telecast with me. Ms. Pooja, she's a Congress spokesperson. Now, Pooja, let's quickly break down these numbers, and clearly women have an advantage in terms of the way they perform, whatever roles that they are given when they are the members of the parliament in the Lok Sabha, when they have won elections from their constituency, when it is reflective of the number of questions, the kind of arguments that they have raised for their particular constituency, obviously then reflects on how they govern their constituency.
Totally second you on this, Megha. Women have been better leaders, and this has been proved by the 14,93,580 women panchayat leaders that have been doing phenomenal work at grassroots, getting water connection. There's a Chavi Rajawat in Rajasthan bringing all the development projects to her village. There's an Aarti Devi in Gujarat carrying a campaign against the Ghungat Pratha. There's a Seema Hando in Haryana causing 100% literacy rate in village. So when we talk about women being in a leadership position, I'll say they bring empathy to the table. If you'll give me a few seconds, Megha, for joining politics, I was a student of international affairs at Yale, and I was fortunate enough to work with the present New Zealand Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern. And there, when we talked about, she wanted solutions on why immigrant women are leaving the workforce in a huge numbers. And there we came to conclusion that they are the primary caregivers for their children, especially the South Asian women. And that moment she came up with an idea of the flexi job scheme, where women are being rewarded financially, women are being remunerated financially on the flexible time that they give it to jobs. I think this kind of solution will come from when a woman occupies a seat of power, when she understands the family to look after.
Okay. All right. Dr. Tina Kapoor Sharma, she's a national advisor of the MSME of the Government of India. She's the S-Director of ASSOCHAM India. Another set of graphics that I would like to shed more light into in terms of the kind of questions that have been raised by the female members of the parliament versus the male members of the parliament to the ministries. And if we take a look at the 15th Lok Sabha and the 16th Lok Sabha, and the questions that have been asked by females have related to health and family welfare, human resource development, women and child development, rural development, environment, forest and climate change, consumer affairs, food and public distribution, water resources, river development, textiles, youth affairs, drinking water, panchayat raj. And this is quite reflective of what the mindset, what is the focus, what are the priority areas of the women parliamentarians, of the women Lok Sabha members of the parliament. And if we take a look at what the questions that their male counterparts have gone on to ask to the ministries and raised in the Lok Sabha include science and technology and earth sciences, corporate affairs, tourism, tribal affairs. So there's a clear distinction. Women here want the welfare and development of their fellow citizens, and women counterparts living in their constituency. Health and family welfare is something that is of foremost importance, something that the government of India, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has given impetus to, has given priority to. And this has been, and when we talk about Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, when we talk about providing toilets to women, when we talk about providing homes which are owned by women, this is quite reflective. If you improve the situation of the women in our country, the entire nation grows. Tina, if you can hear me.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's a clear distinction between questions and understanding of women, which is to be asked in the parliament. That's very clear, because they have no agenda of. I'm not generalizing it, but yes, they have no agenda of doing corruption. They are the management gurus for the families, even for the society. Thirdly, I would say that women would interact more with the household women when they get elected to the parliament or get nominated to the parliament. and they are very, they are basically caregivers. So that clearly the agenda, the data you've shown is clearly shows that women are not talking about earth sciences, are not talking about tourism, not talking about other things. I'm not saying men do corruption, but yes, that's a clear distinction that women have prioritized, the society health and the what do you call it? I mean, Vasudhaiv Kutumbakam in our Indian, versatile language. But yes, the parliament is definitely, has certain distinction between men and women. And I am not being biased because I believe in gender parity. I will never say that, women are better representatives. I would also, having said that, I would also say that women can perform better if given a chance.
Okay. Dr. Pooja Tripathi, so whether there is reservation or not, and we're talking about women politicians, but let's step aside from the political purview of things and look at how women and girls perform succeedingly when it comes to your exams, when it comes to your school performance. Girls are known to be more sincere, girls are known to be more meticulous, girls are known to be more hardworking, and perseverance is what leads them to get these marks that are much higher than their male counterparts. Now the fact that when they do exceedingly well from their school years up until class 12 and college and post-graduation, why is a sudden drop that is seen in women being the breadwinners, women being at the helm of affairs when they are climbing the corporate ladder, or for that matter take on the challenging jobs of being politicians and running constituencies?
Megha, imagine this is the figures, this is the performance of women MPs when when there is reservation is not there in place. Imagine what they will do, the wonders they will bring to the table when they are being reserved and they are sent to the parliament. We look at the glaring gender gap. You were right, women are topping every year. CBSE comes that ladkiyon ne baji mari every year. I have been to a medical school, most of us were women there. So I think it's the whole patriarchal setup, women being the primary caregivers of the children. I have a 14-month-old daughter myself, and I had to take her to my political tours when I travel. So I think this being a primary caregiver to a child is something that, women take a step back, and the whole patriarchal system is not very, very welcoming to women joining back the workforce. And this is very stark evident in the gender pay gap. What we see at Panchayat level, I just quoted a figure which reduces to 8% gap, 8% representation in state legislatures and 14% in parliament. Where are these missing women who would have been the exceptional leaders in comparison to their male counterparts? Where are these women? Yeah. And that's where, affirmative action is needed. That's where we need affirmative action to put them back in place. Because when women are succeeding at 12th level, when women are succeeding at 10th, when women are coming out with flying colors in colleges and corporate ladders, why not politics? I'll talk about politics. I'm a politician myself. It's because you have to give them an affirmative environment too. Yeah. You have to give them a supportive environment too.
And I think that's what the government has done with the passage of the 33% reservation bill for the women. It's now turned into an act. So Dr. Shah, Dr. Tina, then again affirmative action, so which means opportunities that are being given, more of them to women candidates, women politicians. Will this make our country a better place to live in?
Absolutely. I mean, a house is definitely not home without the women, and that we all know. And we all know that the gender roles have been defined from the very early times of human thing. But then somehow I feel that this country needs more women in the participation because they're sensitive, they're caregivers, and they're the ones who are taking initiative. They have been suppressed for many, many years. Now they are trying to, we've just got 33%. We are, the kind of votes women have been giving is more than 50% in India. Whatever numbers they are in, the percentage is almost more than 50%. And they are sensitive. They are even sensitive towards current politics. they get affected by current politics, politicians, representatives of their area, and I think they get. I mean, I want to see them more in parliament, and coming from all these strata, coming from panchayati rule to the urban class, and I think they will make a brighter India, because we know that all Rajas' houses in the past, in ancient times, has been run by the women. They were the bread earners too. They were they were fighters, and then later, society has restricted their role to kitchen and just probably delivering children. So women are now are multitasking, and they are handling house, they are handling politics. Some are doing business as well. So we are, I don't see that kind of courage and that kind of, the strength which God has created in a lady, and that's not there in a man. So that's a clear distinction.
Perhaps even the men sidelining the women and wanting to hog the highlight, wanting to take on the important jobs. Also
nobody wanted women reservation, honestly, but then it has been passed by parliament now. And men think that, women should only belong to kitchen and the house. I think now society has to change.
They're forced to now accept, and then now an affirmative action. The gender roles.
These are gender roles.
The way you are conditioned to believe that you are inferior to men, and that is. I think this affirmative action is also going to bring about this.
And we get emotionally blackmailed, sitting at home.
Yes, absolutely.
We leave our jobs.
Yes. Absolutely, because you have to be the caregivers, you are the ones who have to handle the babies, it's not a man's job. So all that is changing, and gradually so, and I'm very happy to see that in my lifetime. And Dr. Pooja Tripathi, then when I talk about women taking charge in politics, 49% of our population is women. Who better to understand about women and child development, about healthcare, about family welfare, about human resource development, about rural development than women? I think the men may have hesitancy, might not be able to understand exactly the kind of problems that the women may have to face. But when a woman-to-woman chat happens, when a woman politician, when a woman member of the parliament, when a woman leader is going and approaching a woman living in the rural parts of the country and saying that, listen, there are toilets that are required. There is an age-old, taboo that has been carried forward, that there should be no toilets in home, that women cannot be the ones under whose name houses are going to be leased out, houses are going to be built into leases. The women are not going to step out and earn a living. The women will have to use the chula and not an LPG gas cylinder. All these regressive patriarchal practices do end up seeing a transformational change when a woman takes, because she understands the problem of a woman like no other.
Exactly, Megha. When this 33% reservation in Panchayati Raj bodies was implemented, we saw a surge of Panchayat Patis, who were actually the main decision makers. And there's also an OTT series called Panchayat, where a woman could not even recite a national anthem, which is quite true when it comes to the representation of women in rural populace. But what we see in the recent years, what we see in the last decade, there has been much decline in this representation of men at the helm of decision makers as Panchayat Patis, and women taking charges of these things. Adding on to what you said, why just limit themselves to women and child development, health development, rural development? Give them defense. They'll know how to run a country's defense system better than men. Give them home. They will be in charge of the internal security of men better than men.
A very good example that our finance minister, union finance minister, is Nirmala Sitharaman. I think the what time defense minister is Sushma Swaraj. So all those examples are there, maybe far and few in between, but this, with an affirmative action 33% reservation, more and more women are going to be given an opportunity to come to a platform and to outshine the men, and that's in all possibility is going to be a veritable cause that the government of India and the people of our country and politicians all across are going to hold hands and carry forward.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.